After 15 years, we are finally getting remakes of the Pokemon games that got me properly invested into the franchise, with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl. As of now, we've only had a small handful of early gameplay footage, and it's raised many questions already, with the game almost looking like a remaster rather than an actual remake. Well, after spending a good amount of time analysing all the gameplay that we have right now, I want to do a similar thing I did with Sword and Shield, and give a breakdown of facts, things you might have missed, and possibly things to come in the upcoming Gen 4 remakes. However, since I want to try and be as thorough as possible, I also got the help of little Shellder, since she's also a massive fan of the 4th gen. Not as big as me, but pretty close. And if you're wondering if we'll also talk about the Arceus Legends game, we actually did a full breakdown of that game alone over on her channel, so please be sure to check out that video after this one if you haven't already. So now, let's begin. Here are facts, things you missed, and possible things to come for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Shining Pearl. Let's start with these remake titles. It's possible, like me, you found it a little bit weird that the Diamond version of this game was called Brilliant, whereas the Pearl version had a much more fitting Shining. The names of past remakes have always gone together somehow. So what's up with this one? Well, it turns out that the word brilliant has more than one meaning, not only meaning something like excellent, it also means very bright, as well as being a type of diamond or gemstone cut, with diamonds being rated on their brilliance. So, in short, the shinier diamond is, the more brilliant it is. Again, I felt really dumb for not knowing that brilliant had this other meaning until now, so hopefully I'm not the only one.
Despite Pokemon teasing us before the remakes were revealed, and the numerous posts stating these new Sinnoh games would have Let's Go style catching, there are many things in the trailer that prove that that won't be the case. Apart from the game titles not having Let's Go in them, we very clearly see both random encounters and wild battles make a return, as well as the trainer themselves throwing a Pokeball at a wild Pokemon. While Let's Go Sinnoh might still happen sometime in the future, it's pretty safe to say it won't be anytime soon.
Speaking of wild encounters, in the past few generations, whenever the player encountered a Pokemon in the wild, the camera would zoom in and show the Pokemon on its own, this being the case since as early as Gen 5. However, in the Sinnoh remakes, both the player and the wild Pokemon appear at the same time, moving from one side of the screen to the other, just like in the original Gen 4 games. This is absolutely a small throwback to past generations of Pokemon. This will also be the screen for when shinies appear, so I find that pretty exciting.
With these games stated to be true and faithful remakes of the Diamond and Pearl games, there are many instances showing returning features that fans have been asking for. In the original games, the player had to talk to 3 clowns in order to obtain the Pokétch. If you look closely, you can see them in the same spots as they were. Additionally, Barry is wearing his orange Pokétch, meaning that this item will definitely be making a return. How the Pokétch will work in the Switch version? Only time will tell. In the original games, the Pokétch was on its own screen and the player always had access to it. This likely won't be the case for the remakes, so hopefully a new, fun way of using the Pokétch will be implemented.
A big question everyone had even before Sinnoh remakes were confirmed was, would there be any Platinum content included in these remakes? As much as I'd like to find something that would confirm the return of the Battle Frontier, I can at least list off a few things. The Sinnoh Dex in Diamond and Pearl was smaller than the Sinnoh Dex in Platinum, but it's not looking to be the case for the remakes. If you look very closely in the trailer, you'll notice an NPC in Floroma Town who doesn't appear in the original Diamond and Pearl, but does appear in the same spot in Platinum. But Shaman Skyform wasn't even in Diamond and Pearl period. This not only implies that other events like Darkrai and possibly even the Azure Flute will appear in the game, but also means that other Platinum only forms like the Rotom forms should be returning as well. Additionally, Porygon Z, who isn't in the Sinnoh Dex in Diamond and Pearl, is also in the trailer. So it does seem that the Sinnoh Dex in the Diamond and Pearl remakes is most likely going to be slightly bigger than we expected.
It was obvious these remakes would have many visual improvements compared to the original Generation 4 games, but here are some that you may have missed in the footage we were shown. Not only are the backgrounds during the battles much more detailed, but other smaller details have been added to the game to make it more visually pleasing. When you're battling outside, you can see Mount Cornet in the background. An ice effect has also been added to the buildings located in Snow Point City to make them look like they're freezing over. The exact same flower patterns have even been copied over from the original games to these remakes. Clear numbers on the signs showing the routes you're on have also been added to this game, and most importantly, the trees somehow looking better than they did in Sword and Shield. We also know based on the lighting at certain points that day and night cycles are definitely making a return, which hopefully means that day and night versions of the music will as well.
Let's look at some more throwbacks to the original games these remakes have to offer. When starting a trainer battle in the original games, a giant Pokeball appears and turns, indicating the battle has started. This attention to detail was included in the trailer. Going back to the titles, if you look at the font used, it's basically the same as the originals, which they didn't really do for past remakes. This begs the question, will the box art for the new games be a throwback to the originals as well? But considering that we haven't seen them yet, this could possibly mean that they're hiding something from us. Perhaps a new form for Dialga and Palkia that'll go on the box art?
Along with the Pokétch, there are even more returning features teased in the footage that we got. One of these features being the bicycle. The player isn't shown riding a bicycle, but the bicycle appearing does heavily imply that we'll be able to ride one, which could also imply the HMs are also making a return or something else is going to replace them. Another visual change would be in Jubilife City. In the original games, the monitor didn't show anything, but in the remakes, the monitor is actually being put to use, with a Chansey and a Happiny participating in what looks to be a Pokemon contest, also implying contests not only make a return, but also contest features like Poffin making.
Another highly requested feature that was teased to us was the underground. We didn't see much, but it's definitely there. This basically means that we're going to be able to make our own secret bases, and, with the power of the internet, be able to interact with friends in the underground, setting up traps, showing off our secret bases, mine together, and with the internet, the possibility for online features like secret bases and the Union Room are almost endless. Online contests? Against other players? That'd be pretty awesome.
Since Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, any minigame that involved quote-unquote gambling have been removed to ensure the game has a universal age rating, meaning that these Sinnoh remakes are also likely to have slots completely removed. The easy route for the developers would be to either make it so we can't interact with the slots at all, like in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, or worse, pull in Oros and shut down the game corner altogether. If developers really want to go above and beyond with these Sinnoh remakes, replacing the slots with a different game would make fans very happy. Maybe an HD remake of Voltorb Flip from Heart Gold and Soul Silver? As long as we have something else to do in the game corner rather than going the lazy route, a change to this area would be a great inclusion.
In terms of more visual differences these remakes have from the originals, one of the biggest ones has to be the Dialga Palkia statue. The original game did a good job making the statue seem like it could be either Dialga or Palkia, depending on how you looked at it. However, that is obviously going to be a lot harder to accomplish with 3D graphics, so instead, they decided to go a different route, by making the statue look more like the one from the Pokemon manga, probably for the best, as well as being a nice throwback. Another change would be the player having a Switch in their room instead of a Wii. I'd like to think that the Switch being on the ground with the one Joy-Con popped out is symbolism for the developers deciding not to make these remakes Let's Go. The kids in Jubilife, while hard to see, are most likely playing on Switch consoles instead of DS's as well. One thing that stays the same though, is the bed that faces the wall. Seriously, who would position their bed away from the door facing the wall like this?
With this game stated to be a remake and not just a remaster, we can expect some major quality of life choices to be added. One obvious addition from the trailer would be the ability not only to move diagonally, but pretty much any direction the player wants, making getting around, whether it be on foot or bike, much easier. Some other quality of life changes we hope this remake will add would be for the player to have access to more than 2 fire types while on their journey, and also keeping HMs removed and replacing them with something else or making them less tedious. Personally, I hope HMs are in the game since they were a pretty important factor in the original games and add a bit more strategy to them. However, I understand why people never want to have to deal with HMs again.
Barry Starley is male. That's it. I don't really have anything else to add. I just thought it'd be funny to mention that his Starly is indeed male. Also, the Shinx that the player encounters is female. Moving on.
At the moment, it looks likely that Sinnoh decks in these games will be bigger than the original Diamond and Pearl decks, with both the NPC stationed in Floraroma Town that triggers the Shaman event and Porygon Z featured in the trailer. This begs the question of how much bigger will this new dex be? Right now, it looks somewhat likely Pokemon from 5th gen onward won't be returning, especially given how even Sword and Shield don't have every Pokemon. But there are some things to be hopeful for. The starter Pokemon of the past few games have been given some sort of special treatment, being exclusive moves or even better, new forms. There is apparently going to be a future campaign promotion that will feature both Mega Lucario and Mega Charizard coming sometime this year. While this is not confirmation that Megas will be returning at all, it's still a small hope we can have for Mega Evolution possibly making a return, with at very least the starters and maybe even the box legends receiving new forms. We really don't want to get our hopes up too much, but it'd be really awesome if it did end up happening.
Shiny hunting in the Pokemon games has always been a bumpy ride. Diamond and Pearl featured radar chaining, a fun unique method of shiny hunting that's likely to return in the remakes. On the downside, shiny hunting the starters at the beginning of the game for the past few Pokemon games has either been way too time consuming or not possible at all. This hopefully won't be the case with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. While hunting for the starters in the original games wasn't the fastest reset ever, since you had to be attacked by Starly before picking your starter, it will still be quicker than the X and Y resets. So, hopefully the people who plan on playing through the game with a shiny starter will be able to have fun with that, as well as recover from the disappointment of the starters being shiny locked in Sword and Shield.
The last thing we have to look at is a very small visual detail the remakes have that are getting some people pretty excited. If you look closely at Dawn's model, you'll see some sort of white bracelet around her wrist. Many have speculated that this is a Mega Ring, which would imply that Mega Evolutions would be making a comeback. However, this is not the case. In the original Diamond and Pearl games, Dawn was wearing a bracelet, but it wasn't this one. The bracelet shown in the remakes is actually the bracelet that Dawn wore in the anime. The only thing that this may indicate is more references from the anime being made in these remakes. Unfortunately, it does not mean that we will be getting Megas in this game. However, if they were to take this white bracelet and replace it with a Mega Ring, I definitely would not complain.
And that's everything we have to cover for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl so far. Hopefully some of the things we talked about in the video will come true eventually. And again, if you haven't seen the video we did on Alex's channel, going over things that you need to know about the Legends Arceus game, please do check that out if you haven't, and why not leave her a sub as well. But if you did enjoy, please do leave a like, as it does help the video out, subscribe and ring the bell for more Pokemon videos in the future, and until next time, thank you so much for watching.